3 selectmen present, town administrator present, recording secretary present, Leo Martell, recording for the benefit of the town. Thank you, Leo. Okay, gentlemen, I have some minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes from April 26th meeting, regular meeting as amended.
I'll second Bob's motion.
Any discussion on it?
No.
Yeah, we should have some discussion because Mike didn't make any corrections. All in favor?
Looks like you're getting your wrist slapped.
I did. That's what happens when you misbehave. Okay, we're gonna open up for public comment.
Most of it, thank you.
Counselor?
No, actually I do.
Okay,
Pulling in here, I know a number of years ago, we've asked the road agent to stripe this parking lot time after time.
I even thought the same thing when I parked.
There's like 2 parking spots that can't be used because people are just parking anywhere they want and there's no guidelines. I'd highly recommend that someone does that so you can maximize your parking, because if this meeting was actually something truly important tonight,
it is very important.
well, I mean, truly as in like, huge money.
Brian, in
Some
the
of the-
fall, Jeff did come to us and said this early spring he is gonna hit that.
Well, it's about 4 years overdue, because I know 4 years ago, he was directed to do it and he didn't.
He did state that he was gonna do it this spring, last fall when he came in.
And with emphasis on the handicap parking lot too.
You know, they just repaved the area behind the police station and he
Yeah.
wanted to stripe them both at the same time.
Gotta do the school parking lot too, because that one's faded to the point where it's
I
almost
think he's
unrecognizable.
working on all of that new area that was done.
Mr. Early, welcome.
Oh.
Okay. And we're, a public comment, do you have anything before your presentation?
No,
Okay,
I do not.
all right, let's
Not at
bring
this point in time.
bring it back to the board. And I'm gonna do some general town business before the 7:15, public hearing. We had a meeting last night with the school board, discussing the Five Rivers Conservation Trust, initiative with the Kroger Conservation Easement. I thought it was a very good dialogue last night. And there's a draft, we have a draft letter of support, we can discuss that if you want.
Could we, discuss that more towards the end, go through other times?
We can.
Just so we can have time to read through that?
Sure. Did you get your copy?
I did,
Okay,
yeah, I'll read through it as we
okay.
have the meeting.
Okay, we can do that. But overall, it was a good meeting, I thought, it was good dialogue and there's some common sense solutions we're coming up with. All right, we got an email from Woody, there's some issues, which is worth reading. He's been invited to come tonight, he may not be here tonight, because it was a late notification. But I thought something we may wanna discuss later tonight is the CDL issue. Hearing. All right, we got an interesting notification from National Grid. They're gonna be doing some herbicide treatment of vegetation along the power lines. And there's an opportunity, if residents want to be notified of it, they can fill out this form and we can get this form submitted, and they'll give them a 30-day notice before they start spraying, because they're concerned about wells, livestock, and all that kind of good stuff. Lean, I think that this information might be worthwhile to put the whole letter on Hot Topics.
That's a good suggestion.
And I wouldn't mind putting the whole letter out there and say the forms can be picked up at the town office.
It seems a little strange to us that the forms are our responsibility to hand out to the neighbors that are abutting that have wells or livestock within the power line area, or within 200 feet of it, actually.
200 feet, absolutely. I'm just surprised they're still using herbicides. And although they're approved by the federal government and New Hampshire Division of Pesticide Control, when I see some of those names, I think of Roundup.
Yeah, that was approved too.
Good, Leo.
Generally, they would post that in the newspapers.
And it may be, but
Well, because I always contact them because Penny Brook runs through there, which runs into my pond, and I always have them come out. Generally, they mark it and avoid it. The last time they sprayed right through it. And I met with them twice prior.
now, When's the last time they sprayed, 2 years ago?
About 2 years ago, I'd say, yeah.
Cause they just, ground my power line, but I didn't realize they were still spraying, actually.
Yeah, it's still spraying, and they agreed with me that they shouldn't spray near the water yet, as I said. But generally, they post that in the newspaper, as you said, so that way people who have issues can contact them and they can meet with them. Because by putting that on Hot Topics, doesn't mean it's gonna reach everyone that would like
No.
to.
But I don't think it's our job to do it, at least we're
Right,
trying to
no, I
pass the
understand,
word.
that's what I'm saying, you know?
We have Lean, you wanna give them a call and just ask the girl that's on the notification here, see if there's any other source of.
Other avenues
Yep, oh, well, you want me to find out what other,
avenues to be notified, shall we say, abutters would be notified by.
If it's listed in the papers, or if they sent mailers out to the abutters.
Go ahead.
If I may, pesticides, such like that, controlled by Department of Agriculture. You may wanna give them a call and find out what the actual rules are. They may have to actually notify the
It gives all
abutters.
the state rules right on there, Brian.
They may, well, they
Well, it
may
says
only
right-
put some of the state rules on there.
it
They may
says
have to
right
go all.
here, closures, municipal maps, copy of newspaper notification, notification request coupons, and transmission vegetation management brochure. So I'll try to put the brochure and the letter,
Direct line.
and this, Hot Topics, but it looks like they will be putting it in the
Just
paper.
find out right.
I would like a copy of that.
You want a copy?
You may wanna
of
put your name, sign up for it too.
As soon as possible, because I go up north and, you know, I'd like to.
it? Yep,
I just find it hard that it's incumbent upon the towns that they notify the people, not the company that's
Right.
actually spraying it.
That's our
That
thought
makes
too.
no sense.
We're in total agreement here across the board.
got a certified mail with that today.
Okay, so that's an action item. And the date is coming soon. We have to have, those, notifications they want them by June 3rd. So they must be getting ready to go. All right, I got next item in the inbox. I have information that the Kerber easement was fully unanimously approved by for support by our Conservation Commission, and they're actually funding it, and we got a copy of the minutes that delineate that meeting. And so to complement what we're doing, I think we're all, the Conservation Commission, the school board, and the selectmen, we're all kind of like in agreement. I think the final thing will have to be, as they prepare, it'll probably be next spring before the voters. And just for the record, so people know, Mr. Kerber is trying to get a conservation easement on his property. He needs access to the property, and the access may be required to go through the school, in the back parking lot of the school. And so it's gonna, we're talking about creating an easement, a walking path easement from the school parking lot and further out. And there's some safety concerns, space concerns, and so those issues are being brought on the table and discussed among the school board and the selectmen.
How many acres, Mike?
It's 133 acres
Nice.
Things total?
total.
I mean, his whole property total?
No, not his whole property, he's basically excluding his homestead area.
Okay, so 133 is what's going into the easement.
Correct. Jeff?
Can't access it off his own property?
That's according to Five Rivers, they said there's not, it's on 13, not enough without impinging upon his homestead, going through his homestead area.
They were looking for better parking than on Route 13.
He's financially benefiting from it, can't they construct some parking?
That's on the table. There's
Yeah,
nothing-
I mean, I was
yeah,
just
no.
wondering, it's like, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's like,
No, they're looking
in
at
this
all,
day and age, I know the school is always kind of, having people on campus that have been vetted and, approved and all that, because.
one
we're
of the
kind a-
proposals on the table that that the easement that the town would give
Yep.
would be restricted to non-school hours.
Then who monitors it and patrols it?
Well, the thing is, we got a policeman morning and afternoon there, so.
Yeah, well, that's kind of, whatever, I was just
No, but
wondering.
the thing is, in all honesty, not with the humor aside, all options are on the table,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be discussed.
Well, that's what I thought, I mean, they have access on Route 13 right now
Right.
to the property. I'm just curious, that's all,
Understood.
But there is an officer that's at the school most of the day.
Yeah, but that's not his responsibility to patrol the walking path, is it, too?
Well, not the walking path, but if they're parking down there during school time, they
That's
could
the
have
giveaway.
them
Yeah,
move.
it's a public easement, correct?
Yes.
Then unless it's some type of zoning or ordinance that, you know, prohibits, you know, them being like after dusk or something, or before dawn, you know, it's a public easement, you know, you just try to keep the public off it, you could end up getting yourself sued for lack
The
of
problem
access.
is it's property that the school owns.
No, we own the town, the school only owns the building, we own the property around it, that's your purview.
Yeah, but again, that's the issues we're dealing with. And we asked Five Rivers, last night at the school board meeting, we asked them specifically about that, can we put something on there that would restrict? And the answer was, we've never done this before, I don't know, and so that, it's going back to the, to ask, in the question phase, so we're in the information gathering phase.
I have another question.
Sure.
I didn't realize the meeting was last night, 'cause I was hoping to attend, but somehow I thought it was gonna be later in the month. But anyway, like, there's a kiosk or something, who would be responsible for maintaining the kiosk and all? That's what I heard at the last one, Selectmen meeting.
We, again, not known yet.
Oh, so there's still a lot of variables.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's in your very early stages right now.
So all we're doing
So we
right,
wouldn't agree to it till we had a whole
absolutely,
layout.
absolutely.
And
The
Jeff,
only-
it's gonna go to town meeting, just so you guys know.
Oh, okay.
Once it's discussed and set up, all we've given them is a verbal commitment to work with them on some sort of agreement.
Yeah, I understand.
With
It's
all
part
of
filling
the-
the form out.
With all the
apply for the
caveats
grants.
of, you know, limited hours and limited use during school hours and all those things. So it's gonna go to town for approval, it's not gonna be done by the selectmen and or the school.
No, I mean, we have several of those around town on Conservation Commission, and they seem to work fine, but they maintain them, and they're on town property,
Correct.
so.
The other thing is, you know, it was more that we're just giving them support to continue.
Yeah, no, that's fine, yeah.
And that's where we made a uniform decision last night, just to continue support. And we're giving a letter of support to the Five Rivers as they're gonna present it at the end of June, just to get the process started. And by getting it into the deadline, if it is approved by next March, we're in the queue for dollars, well, at least they're in the queue for dollars to make it paid. Because we're not gonna, town's not paying, even our Conservation Commission is donating some money, but not nearly the amount that's required. Okay, any other questions, any other comments?
One more thing on the Conservation Commission. I'm reading here that their next meeting is at 5:30 PM at the Kimball Pond Conservation Area. And they're gonna clear the mill site and the cellar hole area again, so that's on May 8th, if anybody wanted to attend.
That's like next week.
Yeah, it's
That's
coming right up,
Wednesday.
that's why I wanted to mention
It's
it.
next Wednesday.
We tick proof clothing though.
Ugh, for sure.
Are they bad already?
Oh, yeah,
Of course.
Really?
yeah, I've been picking them off a lot.
I've been walking my property a lot, I have to
You know,
watch
my
that.
grandson's had one right in his, by his ear, last week, week before.
And then the deer tick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold off on ticks for now. I have to make a correction from last week. It was noted by the Linda Landry, the town clerk, that she incorrectly listed the fee for a replacement dog license as $1 instead of $1.50. So the current dog license should have been $1.50, and she wants to increase it to $2.50. I wanna make sure we have consensus here to make the amendment to the fee schedule.
I have no problem.
What about the retired people?
We're working on that. Okay, just so moved, that we're in consensus to, we're in agreement with the town clerk, that it should be $2.50 for the replacement license. Okay, I'm gonna defer now, what time we get? Take a time.
Sure.
7:15, exactly.
Okay. I'd like to open the public hearing, to discuss various road projects for 2019. Time is 7:15. Mr. Ray, come on up.
My turn in the barrel, huh?
It is. I see
I'll
you-
just stand here,
I see you
because I
got,
don't have my back to you guys.
There's a lot of people here.
Yeah,
I see you got half your crew here.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming. And, it's been an interesting spring so far, I think we must all agree. And winter was kinda good, but we're getting beyond that. Anyway, for road projects, what we're gonna do is, part of what determined what was gonna happen this year was based on the winter we had. And as I'm sure a great number of people know in this room, that there's several areas in town roads, we have been battling potholes and missing pavement for most of the winter. So we're gonna shim and overlay about 7,500 linear feet of roads, some areas on Montalona Road, which are by far the worst. It's kind of a maintenance, shim, pave, to buy us some time, shape the road back up and eliminate as many of those potholes as we can, because we can't stay ahead of it. Gorham Pond Road, we have a similar issue, we're gonna do some work there. The major project that we're planning on doing right now, and it looks like everything's gonna fit in financially to make it work, is Ray Road. We're gonna reclaim that asphalt surface, dig the shoulders back a little bit, do a limited amount of drainage. It doesn't really need a lot of work to prepare it, the sub base and all that, but it is at the point where we gotta do something to it. So it kinda surfaced a little higher than we originally intended, so that's what we're gonna do in that area of town, that's our plan. So, having said that, after we've completed that project, that's the last section of road, basically, from the town center, north and west, that needs any kind of extensive work. And anything else from there, will just need, a couple roads need some minor work, but basically it's an overlay and, you know, occasional ditch work and stuff like that. The culverts are all in good enough shape. But then we're gonna gravitate that way toward the east side of town to do some extensive work over there. As anybody knows, we've talked about Montalona Road, Morse Road before, and they're in pretty much disrepair. This shimming we're doing is just, like I said, it's, we have to do something to protect what we have for now, for a short period of time, but it will buy us some more time. And then we, you know, do the usual stuff, roadside mowing, you know, some tree cutting, you know, shoulder work, ditch work, as is needed in town. We have some culverts that need to be replaced, and we'll try to get as much of that as we can done. We've talked about this before, and I wanna talk to the selectmen again, and maybe we should revisit what we're doing. We shored up the highway department, we've been asking for $100,000 a year for the last few years, and, you know, maybe we ought to entertain doing a bond to do a bunch of overlaying of these roads that just need overlaying or something. I mean, it's a discussion that I think we should have, and see if feasibly, financially, if it makes sense for the town, I don't know. I mean, I've always been a proponent of pay-as-you-go, but maybe we've got to a point where we have to be a little more aggressive and go this way. Whereas we get a large number of roads overlaid that really need it, and also still keep moving ahead with some construction type stuff. So I think it's a discussion we should have, you know, what people really wanna do. I mean, we're never really gonna get caught up, it's an ongoing thing. You probably heard me say this before, but if we did a mile of road a year, we have 45 miles, it'd take us 45 years to get back to the beginning, so. It's kind of it's a losing battle, so to speak.
Anything planned for Rangeway? There's a lot of issues with residents on Rangeway this past year.
As far as.
Just culverts and drainage and
We've
damaged
done,
property.
we've actually done some extensive drainage on that road already, and we keep adding gravel and stuff, so. I mean, that's what we do,
Okay.
usual maintenance. I mean, it was a tough spring for gravel roads. I mean, as everybody knows.
You know, hearing complaints of, ones in Gorham Pond also.
Yeah, that's another road that needs some overlaying and stuff. It's just, I have no list. You know, the Gorham Pond isn't horrible, but there are some spots that need to be touched up a little bit.
But the Gorham Pond housing. like
Yeah, in the Gorham Pond, I'm gonna call it,
Holiday Shore.
K1 area
K1 area, that's
Yeah.
it, yep,
of Gorham Pond, the development.
yep.
Yeah.
I would, ask you, to probably have a game plan as a priority, if you do overlay.
Yes.
I would probably have a priority, probably by maybe September, October,
Yeah.
well before, so we could, if we're gonna need a warrant.
Yeah, I was just gonna explain this, like, that would be one of the roads, is approximately a mile of road in Gorham Pond. Old Fort Estates was a road that was built in the 90s, it has a good road base, it was built to specifications, so it isn't totally worn out or anything, but that needs to be done there. Clifford Farms Road, Barnett Hill Road, Flintlock Farm Road, this is just to give you a quick overview of roads like that. So we have several miles of roads that could be done on that help preserve the life of it. So it's something to talk about and come up with see if it's feasible, see if we wanna take it to the townspeople and go that route. I mean, I'm open to suggestions on it. But you're right. So, I mean, that's, the gravel roads, I mean, every town did have an issue with them this year that I'm aware of. It was an odd spring. I don't know if it had something to do with all the rain we had and the 2 or 3 mud seasons we had during the winter that things melted and then everything got in. But that one weekend, everything just kinda thawed out and there was 6 inches of mud not everywhere, but quite a few places.
Yeah.
We put some stone in them, dressed them up, and then it kinda stabilized after.
Thinking beyond mud now,
Yeah.
dust, are you gonna do anything interesting for dust this year?
We're gonna just kinda continue with the same way we've been. Hopefully we get enough rain, it won't be that dusty.
Okay.
It's looking like that.
Right now, it is, but that could change next week, they could be dusty.
No, Jeff, I think that, you know, for the small department you guys stayed after those dirt roads pretty well from what I've seen driving around. You know, putting that stone in, like you said, dried them up pretty well, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys
Yeah.
The
been
cold
back
patch.
almost the second time already grading them this spring, so that's pretty good on a dirt road, I think, to
My
expect.
friend
Actually-
appreciates the road, the cold patch you put in.
Oh, okay, good. Well, road Leo lives on this year really wasn't
We
bad,
had no
was it?
problems whatsoever.
And usually that has some muddy spots.
Yeah, right, we had no
and-
problem.
And for some reason, that road didn't have really any issues, just one little bit.
Yeah, right.
Compared to the rest of them, and I don't know why. I have no idea why.
I kept it clean.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. It was
It was
kinda-
good, yeah, it was really
It
good.
was odd.
Yeah.
Usually there are some spots. I mean, the year before, of course, we had an issue with the heavy
Right.
cement trucks.
Yeah, that might not have happened though,
Yeah,
had they not driven on that.
Yeah.
Might have been bad, but not as bad.
yeah. So
But
anyway,
this year we had none.
it is an odd,
Yeah.
odd circumstance. I mean, I do notice that some of those roads, the more traffic they have on them, the worse they are. Because, repeated trips on them.
We have and the overlook also has we accepted a new road last year.
Yes,
And there's gonna be, we have to complete the finishing touches on it, you might say.
yeah,
Will you be doing any work up there?
we won't be.
Okay. Will you
The
be-
town won't be.
Will you be looking to make sure they complete the work?
Yeah, Lamontagne Builders still has I think a $15,000 bond, and it's incidental things like grass seeding,
Okay.
and there's some down trees that need to be cleaned up. I'm gonna call them insignificant things, but
Okay.
they're on board to do it. I haven't talked to Bob Grondin about it lately. I'm sure at some point when things get a little drier. But they had a plan to do it, and everybody seemed to be on board on what needed to be done. Nothing significant, nothing to the integrity of the road, all that's
Okay,
fine.
great.
It's just kind of window dressing type things
All right.
that I'm aware of anyway.
I'm gonna open up to the public.
I was just wondering, with
Yes.
the higher water we've been having the last couple weeks, is the bridge all set?
Oh, yeah, it's handled the flow wonderfully.
Okay.
It's handled it wonderfully, yes.
And you're gonna talk about that this year?
We're gonna put a layer of asphalt over the bridge deck and an approach on each side of it. That's
Okay.
one of our little paving projects.
I'm gonna open up the public. Any other questions?
Yeah, well, I do actually. I brought it up a while back, I'm gonna bring it up since how we have the honorable road agent here tonight. I'm looking, and I spoke to almost everyone on the road, on Penny Hill Road, to lower that speed limit, because there's way more traffic nowadays on that road. And there's a lot more foot traffic on that road than there is on Purgatory Pond Road that was set at 25 miles per hour.
Yeah,
Our road is 30.
I'd have no problem with that, Leo. I think it's a
it'd
good
be
idea.
twofold. Some people on the road suggested 20, and I would go with that, but I
Yeah,
can't see that happening. But twofold you get out of all of this is that you're talking about the dust problem, and that would alleviate some of that dust.
it would help.
Yeah, it would help, So, as I said, there's a lot of foot traffic on that road. Bicyclists, I've been seeing bicyclists up and down that road the last few weeks. Since it's been widened so much at the top,
Yeah,
as they come past the power lines, it narrows right down, and they're just bombing down there.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be good to
I think
drop
we
that.
needed, we asked the police department to look at that so they could give us some input.
Well,
I don't think they really have.
They even parked in my driveway, but they did it on icy days. And I went 2 or 3 times, I went to the car and I said, nobody's speeding today, it's ice. So, and they agreed, you know? So I haven't seen them since, the roads have dried out, but, see, Liliotto uses the road often, so he knows the situation.
I had, talked with Mike about this before, about possibly,
Mhm.
you know, doing it 25 miles an hour, and I think it's a worthwhile thing, I really do, through, on all the gravel roads, actually.
Yeah, well, again, you know, it does help to
Yeah.
contain some of that dust, you
Yeah,
know?
and I mean, again, that's getting people to obey it, might be
Right.
another issue,
And
but
I-
there
and I
are a great
agree.
number of people that would.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and not to mention that if they catch them on the road, they stop them once, maybe they'll won't do it again, you know?
No, I think it's.
All right, as far as an action item for that, we'll like to, get more information from the police department as far as how we implement that, and, any recommendations they may have.
Would that be posted?
Well, you have a
Yes.
safety committee. That's a perfect topic for the safety committee.
Yep.
Leo, what is it posted at now?
It's not.
I don't
The
even think
default,
there aren't even any speed limit signs out
the
there.
default limit is 30,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
Yes.
Of course, again, as I talked to the
It's
chief.
30 or
you-
35?
If you,
30.
from what I remember, back in the day,
This tells
when we had
30,
driver
mark
training,
them
which
up
was a
to
couple
30.
years ago, if it wasn't, if the speed limit was 35 unless posted otherwise in the
Okay,
state
but-
of New Hampshire. And I don't know if that still
State.
applies or not.
Rural
That's how-
residential's 35.
Yep.
Okay, so,
Unless posted
so
otherwise.
what happens is, as I talked to the police officer, what happens is if you make it 25, they'll go 35. You
Yeah.
can't stop that
Yes.
unless they stop the people, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Send
but
a
if you make it 35, and I've seen them doing 45 and 50, especially UPS.
Yeah,
UPS and FedEx.
I do think, I don't believe there are any speed limit 30 signs on your road.
No, there are not.
I mean, some of the gravel roads, we put them up, but
Right, but
I
if,
would post.
right, because if they're not posted, they're gonna keep
Yeah,
doing
no,
the same thing.
That would be the second part of that.
Yeah.
It's a
but-
two-pronged thing. The first is make the motion of the ordinance to lower it to 25 miles an hour.
Right,
And then
post it.
also post it.
Yeah, good, thank you. I would like to
Okay.
see that happen.
Yeah. I think that can happen.
As as I said, I've spoke to almost everyone on the road and everybody is
Yeah.
in agreement. You know, we have a little boy that walks by himself up the road after school. He's walking with his head down, he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's dark by my end, you know that.
Yep.
You know, Arlene Little's out there along the road, you know, it's just not a good idea to leave it there.
No, I think that's a fine
Okay.
idea. I would-
Well,
I
hope it
completely
kind of
support
happens,
it.
you know?
Okay, anything else?
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, I guess, I'm kinda curious as how Ray Road got picked, because, I mean, you know how the traffic counts for Ray Road versus some of the other roads?
Yes, we
Because-
do have it, but also it's, it has increased significantly since we opened the bridge up.
Yeah, but that's mostly out-of-staters coming with a four-wheeler,
Well,
most
there's
likely.
quite a significant number of people use it in town that cut through there. I don't know what the exact number is today, it's on our list of roads to count, but it's also the condition of the road.
Yeah.
If we don't do something to it, we're gonna completely lose what we have, and,
But we already got roads that are pretty much almost completely lost, like, I mean, cause 4 or 5 years ago, we're talking the worst roads in town were Montalona, Morris, and Grapevine.
Yep.
And as the selectmen.
Grapevine's done.
Did Grapevine, the whole idea was to move on to Montalona and Morris.
Well, that was the
And
plan,
now
but we get somehow, this came to the top because of the condition of the road and what needs to be done to it. We can, like I said, do this shim overlay on sections of Montalona to basically buy more time is all this is gonna do. And again, like I said, we can get this one behind us out of the way and that section's done. And it doesn't need as extensive work as some of these roads over.
No, I've driven over it, it's not that bad a shape, really.
Well,
I think
it's pretty
considered.
misshapen and,
What road is that in town?
well,
It's Grapevine.
Overlook is pretty nice.
Well, yeah, that's brand new.
No, a lot of them aren't horrible, but the ones that get the most traffic are. And,
But you'll be going east next year then,
yes.
okay.
I mean, again, we're not gonna totally ignore it this year, we're gonna do some stuff. But, again, it's all a dollar thing too, I mean, how things fit in, money-wise, to make it happen.
Just cause I know, like I say, I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, those were the worst roads, and we've just kinda.
We have to put some underdrain in over there, whereas Ray Road, we don't have to, so we can kinda spread the money around a little bit instead of putting it all into one package.
You gonna do anything with Morris as well, as far as the shimming or anything of that nature?
We hadn't planned on it this year because
I
it
mean,
wasn't.
it's pretty, this spring has not been, well, winter and spring has not been kind to it.
Yeah, it's not as bad as some of the ones we mentioned.
Well, the only thing is it's a shorter road, but if you look at it over, you know, length versus the condition, it's probably in worse shape than Montalona in a lot of respects.
That could be, but
Yeah.
it's,
Jeff, when you do the roads over down there, when we get to, you know, like this year, like I said, we're gonna shim them so they're better to
Yeah.
travel on. When you do get over there, you're gonna do a system like you did with Grapevine Road, where you do a
Yes.
section, kinda overpave it, and then, you
Yeah.
know, then you'll
Work
work
our
our whole
way
road
up.
right through
Yes.
after you're done.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So,
A number of years ago in the nineties, there was some sections of Montalona that had been addressed and rerouted a little and added some gravel and stuff. And it's held up fairly well, but it's kinda,
it's time.
there's some water issues too over there that are ongoing. I mean, you know, groundwater issues.
Agreed.
But,
It was hiding in the pothole,
yeah,
and I get surprised.
That being said, you know, I don't think a bond discussion is probably out of the question, because like you say, our roads are getting beat up faster than we can repair them. We're gonna get to the point where it's gonna probably be better off having them dirt than they are
Wow.
asphalt, or what little there is there. It's
Well,
just-
you'll also save money instead of having to pay to shim and then come back later and.
exactly.
Wow.
No,
Yeah,
You know, you'll be actually saving money in the long run.
Yeah, you're putting good money after bad to
Yeah.
put a Band-Aid on, to have to rip it up a couple of years later, to take
Exactly.
do it all over again.
That's what I mean, I think we really should have a serious discussion about it.
I know back in the time when we had that discussion here at that table, you know, it didn't service as high enough, because we were not in too bad a shape, but these last winters and stuff have really been.
Yeah, and
Kicking the
I
crap
think
out.
it's, you know, we can come up with an idea, maybe figure out what the cost would be and submit it at town meeting and let the taxpayers decide the direction they wanna go. I mean, like I've said this 100 times, I said it again tonight, it's ongoing. I mean, it never goes away. It doesn't make any difference to me or the next guy or gal is gonna be having the same argument, the same discussion with everybody. It's just a fact of life.
Rather than going bond, we could consider just increasing your budget too.
Yeah, but I think,
don't think that touches it though.
No.
yeah, I think we're talking, you know,
Yeah, you're talking
I'm just
serious
throwing
money.
this number out
Right.
there. I was talking about some roads, different lengths and, you know, round numbers. And if you took a mile of road to do a decent shim and overlay with the shoulders, well, that's about $100,000. Today's numbers,
Okay.
just a quick number. So if we had 10 miles of road, that's $1 million.
Exactly.
We couldn't ask the taxpayers to foot that bill in 1 year or anything.
Oh, God, no.
You know, and I mean, who knows? I'm not an economist, but we're coming into an election year, and everything gets kind of funky during an election year. So it might be a good time to do it. I don't know if that affects the rates on borrowed money, but sometimes it affects being able to get projects done at a better price, because a lot of organizations put the brakes on it next year because it's an election year.
As long as,
Speaking of money, do you anticipate any more money coming from the state?
I have no idea what they're.
I haven't heard anything.
No,
When they did that, the initial gift there, when Mr. Sununu was governor, I thought that might continue again, but, I guess it did, but it's all directed through the bridge and thing, instead of not giving a check directly to, the towns like they did that year.
My next question is kind of more geared towards you folks. Central New Hampshire Regional Planning Commission had that road management program and such. I mean, where are we with that? I know that's been kind of an ongoing issue that may be helpful in designing a plan to take and address these roads.
They worked with us, they did an assessment, they haven't completed it yet. How that works is, they give you one free assessment.
Yep.
If you wanna continue it, you have to buy into it. They worked with Central Regional New Hampshire and UNH and the state agency.
In DOT.
And basically, it's good information, but they do a ride around during a time of year. I kinda like to look at the whole year, see how different things act, how the water affects the roads, where we have water issues, where we don't. So when we kinda make our decisions, it's more of a collective thing. They basically do look at the surface.
Well, what I understood was that once you get into that program, it's web-based now and such like that, you can update it yourself as well. It doesn't have to be them doing a ride around. You can, on a yearly basis, you wanna take snapshot of the same road, 4 times a year for each season or sections and stuff, you could upload it and update the database, so when you get the final report, you could have a better, idea of what
Yeah,
your roads
it's
are.
possible, like I said, they're working on it. And
Well, it might be helpful as into, if you wanna have this bond discussion, know your numbers, know your situations, and,
Yeah.
a picture's worth 1,000 words, so if you have that information from a database like that, that's well done, it might help craft your arguments and your,
Yeah.
your evidence for that,
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
And I do have one other thing, maybe it's more of public comment, but,
Okay,
I noticed there was some building going on Montalona and all that, right before you turn to Robert Rogers. And I don't know if it's your section, your department, or the building section's department, but the, trucks, big rigs coming out of there, the dumps, 10-wheelers, you may have seen it leaning over there.
This
But they're
morning.
dragging soil all over the roads and it's coating it, and I drive a motorcycle, so if there was nice weather, I'd be riding that instead of my vehicle because of the rain. Sand on a road is not conducive to safe driving on a motorcycle.
They do have a substantial amount of riprap there, just it's coming off a field lot, so you're gonna get some of that, I guess.
Oh, absolutely, they should,
Yeah.
either put more down or take care of it, but they need to, I don't know who addresses it, whether it's the building as a code enforcement or if it would be you as a road agent.
I think it would be the guys in blue myself.
Them too, possibly.
I mean, I'm just, it's a road hazard that they're creating.
It's an insufficiency that I'm letting you guys know
Just
about,
email.
and someone should address it.
chief,
Okay,
take a look, thank you.
Now I'm done.
Okay. We're in public comments, sir, this is a,
Did you know what the
public
meeting
hearing.
is?
Yes, I
The
do.
road stuff?
About the road stuff, I
Yeah.
got here late, sorry. I had
That's
a
fine.
Conference call.
Uh,
What roads got picked? Bob Leonard, Holiday Shore Drive.
well, we were gonna just put a gate up down on Holiday Shore Road. Do you mind?
All in favor,
Concrete?
Yeah.
all in favor, say aye.
No, wait a minute, wait a
Would that be all right with you? Well, we would just, I'll rehash it. We're gonna
Read
do
a
some.
digest.
Yeah, no problem. You showed up, you might as well hear
Thank
the spiel. We're gonna do some shimming and overlay in different parts of the town, Montalona Road, Gorham Pond Road, approximately 7,500 feet. We have some severe issues with potholes and the pavement's just disappearing, and it's kinda gonna be a maintenance type issue. Our major project is gonna be on Ray Road, I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Ray Road, yeah.
You've heard of, talk about the bridge?
Yes.
Okay, it's the road after the bridge, the paved section, we're gonna grind that up, reclaim it, and add some gravel and new pavement.
Okay.
And then throughout the town, cut brush and culverts and do a little work like that. And Lean did mention that she had some people talk from Gorham Pond, maybe yourself, about some of the conditions down there.
Yeah, mainly on Holiday Shore, we've got a couple of culverts to get the runoff from the hills
Yeah,
into the pond, and now we've got our own built-in speed bumps, because they're raising themselves up.
yeah, there's one that
Quite a
keeps
bit.
coming up.
Yeah, and the one by the park, is, in the winter time, it's either blocked off or it's non-existent or whatever, and the ice and everything built up there is 5, 6, 8 inches.
It's kind of an interesting area, that one,
Yeah, it
there's
is.
a drain pipe that comes out from your neighbor's house and adds to it. So we gotta figure out something that we can do to correct that issue.
Yeah. and
It's been ongoing for a bunch of
It
years.
has, and,
And last year was particularly bad with all the
it
rain
was,
and ice.
it really was, it was quite, even when the roads were plowed, they really weren't plowed, because they iced over.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You know, it was pretty bad. There's a couple of other spots down around 10 that could,
Use
20,
some patching,
25 feet, would,
yeah.
cut that out and put it just a straight patch in.
The speed bump, you don't.
The speed bumps, you don't mind, I can tell when FedEx or UPS is coming, because they're usually hitting it pretty good. you know?
Yeah, we were talking about, that's one of the roads that we need to do some overlaying to and stuff.
Yeah,
So we're talking loosely about maybe crafting a plan and asking for a bond perhaps
Sure.
next year at town meeting. To
Mhm.
take care of a lot of those issues, lump them into one bigger
okay.
project.
What's your budget now?
The
Ballpark.
operating budget is $570,000, and
Mhm.
then in the last several years, we've been asking for an additional $100,000
Mhm.
to basically shore the highway department budget up a little bit and do paving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which has been getting approved, so a number of years ago, we had a pretty lengthy discussion about that, and I was one of the people that pushed for it, that let's just take it easy, instead of getting a bond right now, let's just put a little more money to it and see how far we can go with that. And
Okay.
we thought at some point we would have a discussion about perhaps getting a bond, and we may be at that point.
Yeah,
And so, and we were all in agreement, people in the room and everything, that would be a good thing to pursue, and come up with a reasonable plan and submit it with the townspeople next year.
okay,
Town meeting and
yeah.
argue it out there.
Jeff,
I know down.
I just wanna clarify though,
Yeah.
his 570 does not entirely for road projects.
No, I know.
That's
that,
the
yeah.
whole
There's
operating
staff,
from.
There's
Operating
winter
budget, yeah.
maintenance, there's other
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
material
Yeah.
of,
If you wanted to break that down, it's to you know, more palatable number. We basically have approximately $230,000 that we use for changing culverts, if we have a washout for road repairs, any type of road construction, and that type of item. That's in the operating, but that's just a quick number, and then out of that 570, like Lean says, the snow plow and the
yeah.
gasoline for the vehicles and diesel fuel comes out of that too.
Sanding and so.
Wages and all
Wages,
that.
yeah.
One more question here.
Yeah,
Probably know you've done that.
No, just,
Oh,
two other quick things.
Go.
Haven't said the names for the public.
I'm sorry, I did, Bob Leonard, Holiday Shore Drive, yeah.
the mayor of Gulf.
I'm not the man. Wait, let me get my Lou DeBerry over there.
Cameron,
Yeah, I know. Let's see, it's gonna be 14 Holiday Shore Drive. There's 3 trees right on the road.
Yep.
I think we talked about it.
Yes.
So is that in your back pocket somewhere if we get Asplund in to take those out? Because when they plow in the wintertime, the trees are like right on the roadway. So they have to go around them. They're actually like leaning out a little bit. And they're all marked with a pink tape.
yeah. Well,
They're town trees, I guess, so.
well, I guess, yeah, they are.
We have some
Yeah.
posts like that.
They, haven't plowed down there quite often, there are a lot of challenges down there, not just the trees.
Challenges, very good word.
There are a
yeah.
lot of
Yeah,
challenges.
Yeah, okay. And
So
then-
we didn't, I mean, they seem to be healthy enough at this point in time.
I do, okay.
I mean, no,
yeah,
they
as far as
didn't
something
look
goes,
like they
yeah.
were hazards, so
Mhm.
we weren't gonna rush down and cut them.
Okay,
We've been getting around them, and like I said, there's a lot of vehicle challenges down there in the
Mhm.
winter, and other
Yeah.
obstacles,
a
so
lot
we
of
just,
people decide to park on the road at the
Well,
wrong
yeah,
time of
they-
year, so.
life isn't necessarily easy, it's kind of a contest between
It's
the
one of the
plow guy and
busiest
landowners.
cul-de-sacs I've ever lived on, let's put it that way.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
very busy road.
No, it's tough on everybody down there, it's tough
Okay.
on the residents, it's tough on us, and we try to do enough down there, but we're not, again,
Plowing is-
we're not gonna take any of the trees down unless.
Plowing is great, I used to be in Wyndham, and you guys got Wyndham beat,
Well,
hands
thank
down.
you, we appreciate it,
No,
we
no
try,
problem.
but like I said, as far as the trees, we don't have any plans right now, I know you and I had talked, I went and checked them out. They didn't look like they were a dead or that type of hazard or anything else that would be a personal hazard.
There is one on Gary as you go out to Gorham Pond Road, after you come from Gorham Drive, and you're heading out to Gorham Pond Road.
Mhm.
It's on the right-hand side, it's leaning probably about 2 feet,
I didn't
and it's
notice.
only about a foot or so from the power line, so you might wanna do, it looks healthy enough, but I'm just wondering, we're getting pretty good gusts.
Would
out
that,
of
would
the
that be
ponds.
your jurisdiction of power line?
Oh, that's power line maybe, huh?
Well, well, that's another game, not a game, but
No, I know.
if we try to, if
What's
they,
up?
we'll let them take care of them,
Yeah.
if we can, you know?
So,
You know, the utility
Because it-
company wants to hear about problems, potential problems like that.
I'll give him a call.
I mean, that might be a win-win for all parties.
Okay,
considered.
I'll give him a buzz, cause I mean, it is within about a foot.
Right, and they wanna know that before the line goes down.
Beforehand, yeah, well, I talked to the guys in the area and when the Asplund guys were there, but nothing ever happened with it, so evidently, they've got a work order that says. do
Yeah, I'm
this.
sure there's a whole chain of.
Oh, sure, yeah, I would assume they can't act on that, but,
Yeah.
yeah, as long as you're keeping an eye on the area, we appreciate it, because
Yeah.
there's,
But there are some obstacles.
there's a few places that could use patching, right where, Gary, right where Gorham Drive and, Karen are, that's all
Yep.
jumbled up, that's another 25, 35-foot section that could,
Yep.
you know, be cut and repaved. And then just, if, where our second beach is, the hard pack has gone down quite a bit now, it's probably about a good 4 or 5 inch drop, if you've got
Yep.
any hard pack around that you're doing
Yep.
edging, if we could get, you know, a foot of it or so, just to make it the
We'll build that
transition.
shoulder, we could do that.
I appreciate that, that's good, thank you.
Splashes.
I'm done.
All right.
Frank?
Speaking of culverts, I know
Yes.
years ago we talked about getting possibly reline or anything, but do you ever,
The what?
reline culverts? And we had some that were questionable and you were
Yep.
looking into relining them
Yeah,
to save them for.
I got some estimates on doing that.
How did that work out at all?
We didn't initiate it yet, but it was, I can't remember the exact number, I still got the paperwork on it. I think one of them was like $7,000 or $8,000 to do, it was more expensive than I thought it would be.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
the
was
issue
wondering.
was with it, one of them was a 30-inch culvert, and as it turned out, it really didn't need to be relined anyway. But I had to look at that, and, that was that one, and the other one, we ended up just changing, cause we were tearing the road up.
What do they reline it with?
They use it's a PVC.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's kinda interesting,
Yeah.
it's like folded up,
Oh.
and they put it in there and they heat it back up and it expands, it conforms to the inside of the pipe. It gives a
Makes
certain
sense.
amount of strength, but not a huge amount, but it basically makes,
Right, but it
The
doesn't
clean
restrict it
surface.
so much.
that's right, exactly. So you are lessening the diameter of the culvert,
Yeah.
but you increase the smooth wall so the flow,
Right.
so the resistance is down. So you don't effectively lose any. But this particular process was that type of lining. But they have another one where they actually slide a sleeve in and then they grout around that.
So now you're taking a 30-inch and you're making it
Yes.
smaller.
And there's a whole formula that they
29
use.
Maybe a 29-inch then.
Yeah, well, whatever, they use, there's a whole formula they use for that, like you say, less resistance on smooth wall pipe. But this other one was a little different technique.
Interesting.
In some places, I do think it would be cost effective. I think it was a large road, deep cut where you really had to do it, might be worth it. But some of these that aren't that deep, I don't think it's much different. Plus, it's gotta be in pretty good shape. And I was hoping, I guess falsely hoping, that some of these metal culverts were having problems with rusting out. They could do that, but they were told me that wasn't really the ideal situation. You need to have that shape of the pipe. Because a lot of the older metal ones that are rusted out, they've actually settled down in and they've lost some.
They're only like about a 300 degree.
Yeah, exactly, so you can't slide anything in there well.
Hey, Jeff, can you comment, any of the state maintained roads will be doing work this summer?
The state maintained roads?
Like Mansion Road 13?
We got a notice the other day on, they were gonna be doing some paving, I guess, on Route 13 and 77. I don't know exactly what it was, but
Okay.
they kinda listed it out, but other than that, I'm unaware of anything.
I said they did Mansion Road the other couple years ago.
Yeah, they did, it was, I can't remember what the notice exactly said.
This notice just said they're doing overlaying similar to what you wanna do down.
Yeah, it's just a,
Skim.
yeah, skinny mix.
Okay, I'm gonna bring it back to the board. Any other final comments? We're bring it back to the board. Any questions for Jeff before you let him,
Just
sneak out of
answered
here?
everything I had.
Parking lot paving, painting.
Oh, we're gonna
Parking lot
start-
paving, striping?
Striping.
We talked about it before you got here, Jeff. Brian brought up the striping.
Yeah, last year we left it that we weren't gonna put lines, we were gonna do handicap,
That's correct.
right?
Yeah, and I told that you were gonna organize that, 'cause you were relining the other.
Yeah, we're gonna, we didn't talk about that, the parking lot behind the fire
Yeah,
station, we're gonna
right.
put a top coat of asphalt on that. And then they want lines, because they need guidance, I guess.
And you were gonna do them together, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Before you got here, they needed guidance out here too, because
Yeah,
there's
that's
like
right.
3 spots that were.
Yeah, the last time we had talked about lines, and then I got kind of a directive that we were gonna stay away from the lines, but do the handicap.
Handicap, that was a directive I thought we worked on.
Well,
Was that?
I
still
think
the
Brian's
consensus?
right. When I came in, there was a car, half a space, a car, half a space, a car, half a
This
space.
is the first time I've ever seen Bob park crooked like that.
No, but this,
He started to acknowledge what it is.
I noticed people get older.
We'll blame Bob.
but that's not the case, really. The problem was just the way people are parked. I noticed it when I parked.
They just pulled it in
I-
half-assed.
I have no opinion on it, whatever we would like to see, how we can
It's
have it done.
like you said, you maximize the use of your parking lot
I
that way.
think because there's so much activity now with that business out
Yeah.
there, yeah, it would be nice to have line
Yeah,
parking. Oh, and I noticed that I come down the School Street area and there's one car that I know is associated with that business that parks so close to the road that
Mhm.
I can't even turn
Yeah.
in to make a normal
I've seen-
turn to park third
seen that
spot
one, yeah.
in
So
on
maybe
the
we
side.
need a little guidance.
Yeah, like a no parking striped on that side
Okay.
even, I don't know, it just,
Gotta remember, us old people need some guidance, you know?
The other thing I don't typically like about parking is they're generally made for cars, and when you have a couple of trucks, they just don't fit out.
I do think they have gotten smaller. over
Well,
the
make
years.
this compact car over here and make that regular size vehicles over there.
But everybody who works in the office, I think they try to park over here consistently.
But
and
even
open
my-
up the whole parking area.
I've noticed the staff kinda gets carried away and
Yeah.
like 1.5 parking sometime, and that makes it difficult for after.
We could lay it
4
all out,
cars.
put lines, there's
So
no
why
problem
don't you
with that.
come up with a proposal layout, the widths and all that kind of stuff, and we can look at that maybe in a couple
They're
of weeks.
9 feet wide,
10 feet,
they're 9 feet wide.
10 feet,
Standard is 9 if you want 10.
10 feet. We're talking about taking care of seniors And I'm getting tired of, this board trashing seniors, so I want seniors taken care of for once.
We're gonna have your
I
own
thought I
parking,
was the one.
we're gonna have your own parking area.
Yeah, it's
Especially
called,
if you have to pay an extra
His
dollar for your
Majesty.
license, right?
No,
Well-
the thing is, I think, no, but a proposal, so we can see it, I think it'll be appropriate.
Yeah.
Well, we'll measure it out and say how many you can get.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we can fit X number of parking spots in here at
Okay.
9 feet or 10 feet, but
it's
the
like,
industry standard today has gone to 9 feet. And I think part of that is due to the size of most
there's
vehicles.
nothing to say you can't do a small one, small sections for compact cars, quote unquote, and then do some 10 feet for the bigger vehicles, I mean, you
I
can
think
do a mix and
I
match.
think we should pick a number and use it consistently for all of them. And if 10 feet is,
Yeah.
there's no line police.
You guys are gonna make me park in the middle of the line, so I don't know if
What'll happen is we'll have the compacts parking in the big spots,
Yeah, I know.
and then you'll be
Because
stuck
we were gonna,
putting your truck
what
in
we were
your
gonna
spot.
do was
That's true.
the handicap at the library and our handicap. And now we'll do lines, but no lines at the library parking lot, or? No, I think we,
Haven't heard about that problem.
We need to
there
look
yet,
at it.
so-
Yeah, that asphalt up there sucks, I mean, you'd probably just be painting dirt.
Yeah, right.
yeah, it's,
Pretty bad stuff,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm happy to just do the handicap
Yeah,
myself. Handicap, alright.
handicap for yourself.
That'll
That'll help you get in and out.
we're gonna put Dave
I got
parking
that.
area.
Jeff, when's the timeline for the painting?
Well, as soon as we get this done, paved over there, we were hoping to pave it over school vacation, but it really wasn't warm enough, it was too wet.
So probably a month out?
Yeah, I would say,
Okay.
and I can get the lining guy down.
Before we give you any guidance, I'd like to think about it a little bit. And
Yeah, no,
take
we
my-
don't have to
take my
decide
measurement-
tonight.
Take my
Yeah.
measure, take measure
We
out.
can do that, we could measure it
Yeah.
and see, and what Lee's saying, I get that, it would be kinda nice to at least designate that end somehow where it actually is.
Yeah.
Even if it was just a stripe,
no-
Yeah,
for
or
no
just
parking.
hash marks, so there's no
Yeah.
parking or
the
something.
yellow
Well, I used to have that right down here before you
Yeah.
went into the park, into the cemetery, because
Cemetery, yeah.
that was a,
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they
people used
fill
to
up
park.
that exit, that entrance
Oh,
from the neighbor's property.
By the way, the curb cut that you recommended for this, new business,
Mhm.
I think that's a wonderful idea, because it's
Seems
really.
to be
open-
working quite well.
It is, so I thought kudos to you for insisting
No,
on that.
yeah, I think I think they're happy with it too.
Yeah, I think it really opens up their business a little bit.
So, yeah,
Okay.
that's it with the lines, I mean,
Okay.
and we'll revisit the speed limit.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We'd like to get some more information before.
Yeah, I just talked to the police,
Correct,
and, you're not meeting next week, right?
correct. What about,
Can we put it on the agenda for the fall?
yes, what about signage? Who takes care of signage and who pays for that? Is it
We
come out of your budget? Okay,
I would budget.
just wanna make sure.
Yeah, no, any signs we put up, we take care of it.
Okay.
But do you
Next, put you guys on for the agenda,
think we'd have enough information and make a decision next month, 2 weeks?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
16th?
And then lastly, I need a yield sign installed.
A yield sign?
Yes, to take down the stop sign.
Go to the planning board and ask them, they're the ones that directed that stop sign.
I actually saw a police department vehicle stop for that, I was so proud of them.
Good. All right,
Where's
so
my,
you're all set
my
with me?
fel- yes, we are.
I knew you were watching.
Thank you, Jack.
No problem.
All right, I'm gonna close the public meeting, for road projects, public meeting, I'll close it, time is,
7:54.
and we'll continue on with, town business, mailbox items. Okay, recently, this past weekend, we had the drug take back, they got over 50 pounds of good drugs to get rid of. Good is relative.
Good drugs.
It sounds wrong.
All right, I'll reframe that, of, bad drugs to get rid of. Making me mad. All right, just an update, just a welfare, department update, I'll leave it at that. We also have an update on, some additional work with a lawyer representing us and with other municipalities concerning the utility settlement. ongoing, yes. It's contingent upon a lot of stuff that's gonna have to be passed at the State House. So that's work in progress, that's just information only. We have, appointment, we have appointment notifications for wardens for our fire department.
Yeah, that's actually a reappointment of,
Right.
existing wardens. John Wigan asked me to pass that on to you, so you can have it signed, and he can forward, I can forward it to the, state.
I don't see any issues with this at all, it's just purely a reappointment,
Those are his recommendations.
right?
Yeah, you're up here, Mike,
Yeah,
sure.
thank you. One of the Senate Bob's stuff. Didn't pass it.
Send Bob would have sent it back to me.
Okay, we got an update from the planning department. If you recall, we had a discussion on a resident which had numerous, shall I say, vehicles on his property. He's already made significant progress in decreasing the numbers, and there'll be more decreases as he heads into June. So I'm gonna say, that nice letter that Donna White wrote to the resident worked very well, and the resident is, understands the issue and is complying. That's good news. Okay, I'm done with my inbox, I believe.
We'll go back to the Five Rivers.
I sure do, I sure do.
I made some small, changes to your letter, Mike, I guess I could read your letter and
Yep.
go through them. The board of selectmen met with the school department, and we were all in consensus that we'd like to support the easement, however it gets worded eventually, to protect the school and the parking over there and the kids and the playground. So the Dunbarton Board of Selectmen unanimously support, and I put it because Ken Kerber seems to want it worded this way, the Five Rivers Conservation Trust / Kerber Conservation Easement on 133 acres. We are very willing to work closely with the school board and Five Rivers Trust to resolve any issues which may be identified with creating a public access point to the property. We feel that protecting this property with such an easement is in the best interest of the citizens of Dunbarton. That's okay in there. Additionally, our Conservation Commission voted to help fund this, I changed that, help fund a portion of this Five Rivers Conservation Trust / Kerber Conservation Easement. So we can give that to
Yep.
Lee, maybe if you guys are okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I have no problem. It's more important that they have a letter of support from everybody. So I think that's
Yeah,
the main point, you know.
I know they want to get that fairly quickly, Lean, if you, can put that in, we can sign that right off and give it out to them.
Yep.
Okay,
They needed a letter of support so they could continue their process
and again,
with Five Rivers.
I wanna emphasize, we really haven't agreed to anything, and once we agree to it, we're only one, cog in the wheel, it's gotta go to the voters. Okay. We have a gentleman who may be a CDL driver, wanting to work at the transfer station. I need Woody to talk about this, why don't we just defer, I like to defer this until we get a chance to have Woody come in.
I'm trying to get him in
That's a
here.
good idea. Bob didn't get a chance to sign that one.
Well, just take that.
See the changes that you made for this, if you want it word for word in the minutes, and then you can see your changes.
Yeah, why don't we get them back
I
and
think he's sending in possibly some applications on this
That,
Saturday,
Yeah.
trying to employ those people
right,
next week, so we may get a chance to talk to Woody next week.
I'm on vacation, but I will leave that to you, and I'll make sure that I communicate to Woody that he needs to reach out to you to schedule
Okay.
the appointments, and I think the staff
Well, you said-
is trained enough that they can schedule the appointments and.
Okay, very good.
looks like you might have some new applicants, Bob.
Sounds like he's got a couple.
Yeah, two potential.
Lean, can I have that easement paperwork back for her to
Yep.
put in this? Right.
I can scan it to her, or she can look at it.
No, that would look too.
Okay, I like the,
Scan it too.
my in,
Yeah.
Or-
okay. My inbox is now empty. I like to open up a public comment again.
Yeah, so you will keep us abreast of what's going on with that Kerber, Five Rivers Kerber easement?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
It's kind of, Leo, at this point in the school board's hands, because they've contacted their attorney for the school,
Right,
and,
but as things are starting to gel, it'd be nice
Yes.
to,
The
you know,
final-
you can get more input if, you know, from the
public.
citizenry, you're right, if you let us know what's going on, and some people, there's 3 people here, you might get one with an idea, makes sense, you know?
Yeah, we'll make sure to, at our meetings, you
Yeah,
know,
right, okay.
notice when their next meetings are that they're gonna.
Well, not just
discuss.
that, but things that are coming along, how things are coming along.
Well, the next big update will be in June, that's when Five Rivers Trust will meet.
Yeah.
And, they're gonna make a decision either to go up or down on it, and that's the big, sort of
This is
thing.
just the application process
Application,
to see if they're eligible for the funding.
Correct. And that's a major milestone. If they don't pass that, it's dead in the water for them.
Five Rivers and Health Chip and all those.
Right now,
organizations.
L-Chip has chosen that property as one they'd like to go forward with. So now they have to write up the conservation easement and submit that paperwork, and
Nice while the money's
Like-
available.
We threw some ideas at the representative from Five Rivers last night, and, some of the answers were, we never did this before, we don't know, and so they're going back to
So
discuss it.
basically, they try to show that the town supports the project.
Correct.
It's a viable project for the town. So the more agencies that give them a letter or a recommendation to go ahead with it, the better it looks for the application.
And from the school's point of view, they're concerned with their mission is basically to educate our children and to keep them safe. And that was paramount to them, and I
Well,
agree
that's-
with that.
Again, I don't hate to be argumentative, but they didn't need to put the kiosk in the easement, they got property with road frontage and everything else, the thing could stand on its own.
That's
You could take
possibility.
that part of it out of it,
Yeah, and
and
that's
the town
something,
could still support it.
yeah, that's what's up to.
So I mean, that's the oddity in it, but that oddity could be eliminated.
yeah, if
They
you,
really
if
want
you
it.
look at their frontage, they're trying not to have the easement come through the frontage right next to the side of their house if they could.
Okay,
But
well, let's
that's
give it to the school.
that's to be determined. Okay,
Let's give it to the school and let them hear it.
Leo, we're a public comment with you.
Okay, no, thank you. Good for now.
Okay, sir,
I'm done.
okay, we're gonna take it back, Dave, to you. Back to the board.
I just wanted to state that I did, talk with Jeff Drexler this week. He is gonna study the structure on the second floor of the town hall and give us his recommendations shortly. It was nice to hear back from him. He had a big project that just wrapped up. I already mentioned the Kimball Pond Conservation, cellar hole site clearing, and I think that's all I had for right now.
Okay, Bob,
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna go back to the Tenny Hill Road thing. If you come from Grapevine Road coming down, because of the buildings, the new houses that have gone in, that road's pretty wide, but when you come down to this end, if there's a car coming up the other way and you're moving right along, there's no place for either one of you to go, except the ditches, so it might be a prudent thing. I mean, I understand you wanna get some input from the police officers, but they're only enforcement. So
Yeah.
you need to remember that, if you look at that road and you try to go on that road, unless Jeff wants to do something with the bottom end, cause
We
you
could
know,
cut some trees and widen it out.
yeah, it gets really narrow in the end though, you know, and so I think maybe lowering the
Don't like
speed,
that idea?
doesn't mean everybody's
Make
gonna
the
do
culvert
that.
bigger, too.
Cause I followed somebody the other day coming down that road, I couldn't keep up with them, you know?
Yeah.
But when they get down the other end, if they meet traffic and they're going fast enough, something could happen, you know? But most people would, I mean, I go down, of course I go slow down the Purgatory Pond anyways, but that road's really wide, you know, and I still go with the speed limit.
Because
you
we're
know?
old.
I think it's unfortunate too, because the traffic has increased
Yeah.
in general, regardless of,
It-
it's just.
It becomes a
there's more
short,
people traveling around.
I was gonna say, it becomes a shortcut
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
that people are using.
Yes.
And so, you know, it's more usage of the road,
You know how
but the
many,
road isn't made to maintain that kind of usage.
no, it is not.
what was some of them was saying that there's a GPS that routes it through Dunbarton when to avoid 93, which road was that?
Bristol.
It's Twist Hill.
Twist Hill.
Twist Hill.
My road.
Oh, yeah.
Your road.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't know how many times, you know, when we pull off of 13 onto Ten Hill Road, if there's a car coming, we pull over right away. And lots of times, those cars don't even move over, they just bomb right by you, like, you know, like you're not even there.
It's unfortunate, cause it used to be like, it was explained, there was some kind of dirt road etiquette
Yeah,
type of
right,
thing.
yeah.
And I'm not blaming anybody, but it's kind of been lost.
Yeah, right.
Because people are from around here and grew up here, they're used to that, and it was commonplace. And then you're not from around here, and all of a sudden you get thrown in Dunbarton and you start cruising around, you don't realize that, and you kind of brought up that way.
Right.
And if you lived in the city or something, and you weren't exposed to it, you don't have
True.
that exposure, so you don't really know to do it, so it,
I think,
you know.
we're in a group of people here tonight, we're all in
Oh, I think
agreement.
it's super.
I think we're all in agreement about lowering the speed limits.
I think what Mike, you know, maybe we'll get some feedback from the police department, because as you said, we may wanna look at all roads, as you and I talked earlier, Jeff. Kimball Pond is
Yeah,
going past.
I think we should make it
Most of the town.
all the gravel.
The entire town, and that's where I'm leaning, I'm looking.
Oh, yeah, no, I would recommend that myself.
You're talking dirt roads.
Dirt-
Okay.
Gravel roads, yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be a wise idea.
Just asphalt, and then you don't have to worry about it.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'd save one sign.
To get a bigger bond.
Well, people be road crew.
It'll be a lot easier to maintain them.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah,
For a while.
No, I just wanna emphasize that the police department's enforcement.
understood. Okay, Lean, the town administrator.
You're still looking to come in the week after next on the highway safety committee level to discuss the speed limits, yes? Get the police department in to talk about that?
Yeah, whatever, I didn't know if you were gonna get a hold, the selectman's office was gonna get a hold of them, or why you want that.
Sure. We're on a summer schedule, so we don't meet next week,
I know that.
so the following week. Yep, I'll work on that.
Okay,
And I just wanna let the board know that we had our auditors in the office for 2 full days this week, gathering information and scanning data. And they will take that back to their office and do their analysis and come back with another punch list for us to review. We've worked very, very hard this week. And then, I know that I communicated this to you folks through an email, but we had a minimum of 4 feet of water in our basement this week, that resulted in getting Dunbarton fuel in here to pump with 2 pumps, to drain the water, and it was substantially high, so we did not have heat for most of the day on Monday, but the girls all worked, to try to stay as warm and comfortable as they could, and
If you work fast, on those who,
we did, we wore our coats. Huh?
The sump pumps, it's plumbed to go outside. What
It
happened?
is, they failed, something went, and,
There's no alarm on them anymore?
no, but I'm gonna talk to JR about installing some alarms on those, cause I think we need,
okay.
to avoid it. I mean, he made the effort of installing the new furnace up on cinder block, 3 feet off the ground, and it was above that point, and then when he opened the door, a fall of water came into the stairwell, so we were very, so.
We have work in progress on the fire department roofing leak.
Yep, I've gotten, one gentleman's gonna give me, meet with Jeff Keegan Westbrook, he's gonna contact you, he's gonna do the same with John, and then, Woody's already been in touch with him to look at the transfer station.
Legal pursuit.
That
That's
is
work in progress.
work in progress, it is on my desk, I hope to reach out to a few individuals and maybe get some responses for the board to look at our next meeting.
Okay. And anything else? Work in progress, I think that was what it, well, I wanna say kudos to, building department, building inspector, he repaired one of our chairs that was busted, if you wouldn't walk by it, he actually repaired it, so kudos to him.
I'm sick of looking at it.
These old chairs, but they're standing the test of time.
They're creepy like us.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm ready for a motion.
They're older than us.
Make a motion to adjourn. 8:10.
Ever sitting in suckers on those
Second.
there.
Okay, so